he looks like a potential world champion again. Let's have it right.
The person who's made it look the easiest at the minute is Callan Ritz. He hasn't lost a set.
In my opinion, on that performance, he's got to be amongst the favourites to win.
Hello, I'm Ian Danter, and a very warm welcome to Aces and Arrows, our talkSPORT Darts podcast. This is in partnership with GGPoker, the world's biggest online poker room. Players must be 18 plus. Gambleaware.org. Please play responsibly. Well, this is episode 3 as we enter the business end, the final week of the PDC World Darts Championships at Alexandra Palace. And we've got plenty of updates for you across the week on talkSPORT 2 and talkSPORT, where the semi-finals and finals will be broadcast. Also, we must thank you for subscribing and liking our brand new talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel that we introduced for these championships. We've already hit 1 million views. We're so grateful to you for that, and over 2,000 subscribers at last count. So keep spreading the word and adding the subscribers, and we'll keep adding the content with watch-alongs and with interviews with the great and the good. Speaking of the great and the good, I've got 3 brilliant people alongside me once again for this Aces and Arrows podcast, the talkSPORT Darts commentary team of Mark Wilson, Chris Mason and Paul Nicholson. Morning to you both. Is it morning? I don't even know what time it is.
Yeah,
what day
I'm
is it? What hour is it? Oh, but we're loving sleep.
the darts. We are loving the darts. We are into the business end of the tournament. Round 4 is already underway. There's only one place to start, and that would be the game that you, Mark, and Mace were doing at the end of last night, where the defending champion, Luke Humphries, was not just edged out, but soundly beaten 4-1 by Peter Wright. Talk us through it.
Where do you start? He didn't do a lot wrong, in fairness, Humphries. He averaged 99.23. Peter Wright just averaged over 100, but it was a perfect display of how to control a match with just precision finishing, timing, scoring, every element. You know, there wasn't a 9-darter, so we're not talking about that type of perfection. But in terms of how to control a match, you'd have to go a long way back. And this performance has literally come out of absolutely nowhere. Coming into this tournament, the reason we didn't fancy Peter Wright was for a good reason, very similar to that of Joe Cullen. Just running through sort of, 10 or so of his last few matches. And some of these have been in the European Championships, the Grand Slam, so serious competitive events. 74 average, 91 average, 97, 87, 84, 83, 83, 88, 89, the 96 against Watamina. So this kind of display has come from nowhere. And interestingly, he went back to using the darts that Nico picked up on it instantly, the darts that he used to win his first ever World Championship. And we sort of looked at each other and said, why would you ever have used anything else? Because he's picked them back up, and he looks like a potential world champion again. Let's have it right. Although there's been higher quality performances in terms of averages, but in terms of playing someone who was playing as well as you are, but you find a way, whether it was the mind games, whether Luke couldn't quite... Listen, you can handle it when you play against someone who maybe averages... If they've got all the chat but got there and average 90, you can deal with them.
Well, I was going to ask you about the mind games, Mark, because as Chris mentioned there, Peter maybe got into Luke's head a little bit with the pre-match press conference. After his game against Watamina, he did what very few players have done in the past year and essentially called out Luke Humphries.
He did.
And what was Luke's demeanour as things were going against him?
Oh, look, he came out, he looked nice and relaxed. I mean, the first set, he played magnificently. Yeah, well, the first leg he came out, he
was a 12.
12 darter against the throw. You think, here we go. To use a poker analogy, Peter Wright didn't have the best hand, but he played it. Boy, did he play it well. And I think it might have only been a 1% that he got into Luke's head. But the fact that Luke was having to talk about, well, what Peter Wright said he's going to do this, Peter Wright said he's going to do that. Peter Wright came and did what he said he was going to do, and even in game when he had the chance to take out, he had a chance to finish, and Humphries was on, I think 1-2-4, 1-6-1. He left him 3, and every time he went, "You're not going to get that. I'm going to lay up here, and because you're not going to get it," and he didn't get any of them.
No, he didn't.
And I think that's just chipping away. And we made a point in commentary that the old Luke, before he started becoming this winning machine, used to get a little bit red in the face,
yes,
and huffing and puffing. There was a little bit of that last night. First time we've seen that for a long time.
Okay.
I don't think he did a great deal. He certainly didn't miss. Luke Humphries, but Peter Wright never gave him the chance.
Yeah,
May said it in commentary. Peter Wright is in his top 10 all-time players, and it's on performances like last night. He never gave him a sniff. There was nothing lucky about it. He was outstanding. The only disappointment for me is he played it down, said he thought he played rubbish, which again I think is more mind games.
Yeah.
He, in my opinion, on that performance, he's got to be amongst the favourites to win.
I'm sure you mentioned in commentary that he changed the darts at the start of set 2. Was
did.
that set 2 when he switched things around, or was it set 3?
It was I think it was set 3. I think he won set 1, lost set 2, come out and used those in set 3, and then reverted back to the original ones. But yeah, and then he plays that double reverse psychology then, doesn't he? Because he come out today and said, "Oh no, Callum Ridge's his favourite," or should I say last night? I mean, he does come out with some absolute drivel, but and
as do we.
Yeah, well, depending on what you think, but yeah, he does. He come and. I think it's daft. I don't know why he does it. He doesn't need to do it. It's not his.
Is it for him though?
I think it is. It reminds me when he came out and he said before the match, "I'm going to win the match, I'm going to win Worlds," and everyone went, "Yeah, right." And he went and won them both.
Yeah,
and
I think he uses that to stimulate.
Yeah.
And I think that's why. Well, we've had this discussion. I spoke to him about it before. I said, "Why do you keep doing it?" He said, "I just get bored and it stimulates me to try and master another setup or another set of darts." And I went, fair play.
But it's funny that when things go really right, as in when he wins World Championships, it's with equipment that he has proven time and time again it works. His entire game, and I've known Peter a long time, as has Chris, his game is all about balance, control, and precision. Balance with the darts, and the ones he used last night, they had impeccable balance. Control, which is control between the ears, which is probably his biggest strength when he's in game, and precision, which is what his game is about, because he's not a free-flowing player. He's an aimer, as Chris would say. So he aims the dart. It's got to be comfortable in his hand. He's got to have that precision. So when he gets those things right, he wins World Championships.
Yeah, and there's several layers of elements to why I think he's one of the greatest of all time, and Nico's explained why in every detail there. He has every element to be able to produce darts like that. But what fascinates me, most players, Joe Cullen's done it in this Worlds. All right, he's not quite as cool as the biggest stir as Peter Wright has, but to come off the back of playing similarly to how Peter Wright's played for Peter Wright's been in the doldrums for a long time, to manifest a performance and psychologically be able to deal with everything that's being said and going on, and looking at all the players stealing the headlines and winning trophies and winning titles. That is quite remarkable how he continues to do it. He did it when he won the Europeans. He did it on a Euro tour when he beat Littler in the final. This is a guy who's a repeat offender for this kind of thing. He knows what he's doing, and it's amazing what he can do.
So that's a former world champion knocking out the reigning world champion. There are other former world champions remaining in the draw. MVG and Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn Price got through his all-Welsh encounter with Johnny Clayton last night. And MVG's yet to play his fourth round encounter. What do you guys make of those two, given that they know what it takes to get over the line?
Yeah, look, I mean, Gerwyn Price for 2 sets against Johnny Clayton was outstanding, now and unbeatable, and then he showed that he's human, and Johnny got back into it. I think John would be disappointed maybe he didn't go on and win it, but I think he's got the mentality to win it, Gerwyn, and he'd love to win it in front of a crowd. That would be obviously a big thing for him, but I think the other players think that he's gettable. I mean, we said last week about Joe Cullen, Price was going to be a cracker. It was a cracker, and Joe had a dart to knock him out, so he's had a little bit of luck en route. I don't think personally that Gerwyn will win it. Can he win it? Of course he can. I don't think his game's quite at the level needed at the moment.
MVG?
Not convinced. Not at all. I wasn't convinced before the tournament started, and I've seen nothing. He beat James Hurrell 3-0 with a 94. He beat Brendan Dolan 4-2 in what was an interesting game, because I think everybody thought, MVG was just going to steamroll him. It wasn't the case. He made him work. Average 97. When you put that into the grand scheme of things of other players' performances and how they've won their matches, he looks. I mean, Pricey in spells they look brilliant. but they both look vulnerable to me when, especially Pricey, when he starts missing doubles, he tends to go on a run of missing doubles, and he's only getting. This is the thing. He's only getting 1 or 2 darts, and they're click click, and it that beats him up. That eats him up, and he can't handle. It tends to affect him. The post miss. You can't change it. I think you said it in commentary. It's done. It's over, isn't it? You can't change the past. You can only change the future. And although we could say the same about Littler, he's been. And at that incredible set, doing a world record set, 140.91. And the first 9 darts across that set was 152. It was like watching AI computer darts or something. I wasn't convinced it was real halfway through. I thought this has got to be some kind of setup.
Littler's worth talking about here. I mean, Ian White had his moments and
could have won up.
Again, it was slug. It could have been 2-2 in sets. Ian White had darts to level it up. Luke Littler, much like Luke Humphries, was quite sluggish early on, like Luke had been earlier in the tournament, but now that Luke Humphries is out, there's going to be so much jostling for position. Actually, you were talking about the odds, weren't you, Nico?
Yeah.
Before I come to you, Nico, you were talking about the odds, mate.
Yeah, I mean, they make Littler now the 10 to 11 favourite. Sort of understandable with what's happened in the last 12 months. MVG's second favourite at 9 to 2. Rids is 10 to 1. Peter Wright's 10s. Gerwin Price is 10s. They haven't got a clue, have they, really? Bunty 14s, Dobie 16s.
I think that what that says to me as a punter is they're happy to take anyone's money on anyone but Littler. They don't want you to back Littler, basically. They're happy for you to back anyone else. And the odds would suggest that.
Pietreczko 33s, Aspinall 40s, Doots 100, Ryan Joyce 100 to 1, who's arguably one of the players of the tournament so far. De Graaf 150s, Woodhouse 150s, Robert Owen, who was magnificent, we'll talk about securing his tour card. He's the outside of them all at 200.
Dean Saunders not in there? No, maybe not.
Maybe next year, 128 players.
He'll put himself in there anyway, will Dean. Now, I must ask you, Nico, given your heritage, about how well the northeast of England is doing in this tournament. Ryan Joyce, Ryan Searle, you said it would be a great game. Yeah. It was, and Joyce edged out Searle in a classic. But you've also got Chris Dobie through, and Callan Rids, a second ton plus average, smashing Dimitri van den Berg to pieces. Yeah. Something in the water up there.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that one person gets through and then the other people think, well, I've got to join someone like Dobie, and then Callan's got to get in there with Ryan and Chris. It's those 3 guys spend a lot of time together. There's a lot of banter, especially when it comes to winning titles. So you see Ryan winning a title in 2020, and then Dobie's winning, and then Rids is winning. This is good for them. It's not a bad thing whatsoever. They don't have a rivalry as such as that they want to make sure that I'm better than you, I'm better than you. It doesn't work like that. They want the best for each other. It'd be fascinating if 2 of them actually go head-to-head. But I've got a couple of points to make. One is that in previous World Championships, we've seen people win because they look at ease with the challenge. When MVG was at his supposed peak in previous years, when you look at how he won in 2017, he's making it look easy. Not many people in this tournament are making it look easy. You look at Price, that was hard work against Clayton. You look at Van Gerwen, that was hard work against Brendan Dolan. And Luke Littler's had some hard times in this tournament as well. And we know that Humphries is gone, so it hasn't been easy for him. The person who's made it look the easiest at the minute is Callan Rids. He hasn't lost a set. Who goes through 3 rounds and wins 10 straight sets? And, having a 120 plus set himself, the 3rd person who's done it in the tournament. He's demolished the UK Open champion, Dimitri van den Berg. He's made him look dizzy. But Ryan Joyce against Searle, I was with Mark for that game, and I was just thinking to myself, this is what I would gladly pay for. I had a smile on my face like the Joker, thinking this is the kind of game that everybody should really want to see. It's not just about Humphries v Littler.
I must have been putting on a northern accent because it was me.
Oh, was it you, Danter? I do beg your pardon.
I was listening in the car.
So you were with us in,
in
spirit.
Yeah.
But it did pan out the way I thought. Maybe not the result, because I thought that maybe Searle would edge it with the superior score and maybe getting a few more 180s. But when you get 62% on your doubles, and it feels throughout the course of the 7 sets that he just hasn't missed. That was just stunning.
Just before we move on to get your ace, king and queen pairs, let's talk about Robert Owen, because every match he's played so far the narrative has been, is he going to keep his tour card? Is he going to keep his tour card? He's kept his tour card. He's done it.
Well, when he played Zonneveld and got that 3-1, he was like, yeah, I think it's sorted. And then other results went his way. Then he beat Gabriel Clemens, and then it could have been, was it Nick Kenny?
Nick Kenny and
Jeffrey de Graaf as well.
Jeffrey de Graaf, yeah.
So then you're looking at it, then thinking, oh, he's got Ricky Evans, who's been having an absolute blast up there. But he was brilliant, and he was under not just trying to win to get through to the next round for himself. He's trying to win to secure his place in the world of darts, because there's no guarantee going back to Q school you're going to get your card back. So he was under immense pressure. His grandfather died a few days ago, which he openly said, I'm just using, he's devastated, but using it as motivation to progress. And I have to say, he was brilliant against Ricky Evans. It was a fun game to watch. Didn't do the comms on it. I just sat back and watched it. And
it was the most courageous performance I've seen. You know, he was never in front, was he? He was behind 1-0, 2-1.
Yeah.
Got back to 2-2, and the way he finished the game. I mean, Ricky collapsed in the end, but he just looked like a man on a mission to me. And, and you mentioned
he was pointing at the stage. I'm staying here.
Yeah, he came in. We spoke to him, didn't we? After he won in round 1, he went, "That's it. I've got my card." And Nico went, "No, you haven't yet." No, round 2, I've got my card. No, not yet. You haven't. And then last night was great to say, "Yep, finally." I think he's up to 59 in the world. I'll be amazed if he puts any kind of show today, because mentally, given what's happened with his family and everything,
he must be
and
fried.
given what he's achieved, he must be shocked.
We have to remember that Robert Owen only got in by virtue of somebody dropping out of the tournament for him to have the 96th spot at Ali Pali. So
And he's utilised it to the max.
boy, has he ever! It's fantastic, isn't it?
One of the things that I'm going to take from this tournament, and we haven't even got to the quarterfinals yet, it's the fact that when the camera was on Robert Owen, and he was pointing to the stage after set 2 it was to go to the break, I have never seen a more Welsh reading of the lips.
Yeah.
I'm staying right here. And it was brilliant. And then he did it again after set 4, and I thought, maybe he's right. But one of the most and I love what Mark said about the courageous performance, because absolutely perfect. But he could have got too boisterous in that game with Evans, and that crowd could have got on his back. He played it perfectly. He played it like a 10-9 offsuit, and he flops 6-7, and then he gets bang.
I love the fact
just like that.
He's got oldish looking equipment. The stems never seem to be screwed in properly to the barrels. They're always coming loose when they're I'd love it. He's
a top lad, is Robert Owen. We had so much fun with him before he got his car down in Southampton, where, listen, he paid off his mortgage from being down in Southampton, didn't he? Literally.
Brilliant.
Top player, and it's great to see him have another go, because that happens a lot. The first couple of years of having a tour card is tough, because there's so many adjustments, and he's now earned his right by right.
Look, we appreciate that we can't get round to talk about all the players in this podcast. I mean, we've not spoken about Bunty. There's various players we haven't really gotten to, Aspinall, but there's things we'll cover next here on Aces and Arrows, because now it's time for GG Poker's Ace Pairing. Each episode, we'll pick out the 3 matchups that we're most looking forward to for the coming week. Ace pair, king pair, and queen pair. And you can try your own hand by heading to the world's largest online poker room. That's ggpoker.co.uk. All right, let's go with the ace pair. We'll start with you, Paul Nicholson. What is your ace pair from what's to come?
Well, it was pretty easy to pick this one, because Littler is playing against Ryan Joyce in the last game of the year. And that brings back memories from the end of 2023 when it was Cullen versus Humphries. And that game will live in everybody's memory for the right reasons. Maybe not for Cullen, but it was just breathless. And by the end of that one, we needed a day off just to get ready for the quarterfinals, because it was just ridiculous drama. But Littler has had flashes of brilliance in this tournament. He is in the last 16, which is very impressive. But Ryan's already come out in his typical, somewhat lazy way, not trying to get a lot of press. He just said, do you know what? If he gives me chances, I will not miss. And I love the way he said that. He didn't say it boisterously or loud or wanting to get clicks on social media. It was a case of, well, if he misses, I'm gonna hit mine then. And he is as Newcastle as it gets. He's really proud of it. I love Ryan Joyce to pieces. I think he's awesome. And he's one of the best people I've ever seen at double 16 and double 8. And if Littler gives him chances down there, Littler's going to pay.
Yep, that's a great match in prospect. That is the last match on stage tonight. All right, Mark, I will turn to you after your king pair.
Yeah, I'm going for Nathan Aspinall against Ricardo Pietrezco. I think that could be an absolute box of fireworks. They've only met once before. Both in their own ways have got something to prove. We've obviously seen Nathan Aspinall has been to the semi-finals before. He's coming back off the back of his injury layoff. Has he been convincing? Well, he beat Gilding convincingly, didn't he? He wasn't so convincing in round one, but there's more to come from the Asp. For Pietrezco, he's performed admirably so far. 2 really good wins for him. They're both spiky. You know, you can imagine actually having a dust-up. They're both on the edge at some time. So I think it's going to be a great game. There's a potential of a Pietrezco-Littler quarter-final. Look, they've got history, of course.
Have, yeah.
There's a whole England-Germany thing. You know, Aspinall's walk-on's going to get the crowd rocking. There'll be a lot of Germans there, I'm sure. I just think that one is literally anything could happen. Wouldn't be surprised whoever wins the game. I think it'll go deep. I think they'll rip shreds off each other. I think it'll be one of the all-time great games of the tournament.
You two have been surprised by Pietrezco, haven't you? To a degree.
Yeah, but in the same vein that we were surprised about Joe Cullen and Peter Wright, because we can only go by form line. You don't really have an opinion on this sport. You read the stats, you look at the numbers, and that gives you a guide. You know, it's not, you don't sort of go, I didn't sort of say, you know, just as we spoke about with Joe, disappointed that he was, you know, written off by the bookies. Well, their opinion's the same as ours. They look at a huge database of numbers that tell us, well, you're not winning games and you're not playing well. It's different if you're not winning games and, you know, averaging 97. Like, you look at Gezi Price, you look at his numbers, you can get crossed and you can think, oh, well, he hasn't won anything for ages. He must be playing rubbish. No, he's not playing rubbish. He's just walking in to people who are having absolute blinding games against him. My queen pair,
yes,
Kevin Doots against Chris Dobey. As you know, Chris Dobey was one of my picks to make it to the last 4. Last time out, he was involved in a beautiful game with Josh Rock, with 2 young stars who were just up there trading maxes. Really interested in that one. He averaged 97 in that. The game before against Alexander Merckx, won with a 96, as if to say, go on, off you go, young man. And of course, Doots took care of former champion Michael Smith in a 5-set thriller. And he then, I wasn't sure he was going to get the better of Ratajski, but guess what? Ratajski averaged pretty much 95 as he does. And Doots managed to get the job done with
after a dreadful start. A dreadful start, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful.
2 sets to have done looked little boy lost up there.
Yeah, but I think
recovery.
Again, it's two of the young stars that are looking, or are going to be part of our future. I think Doots is very much in the mould of De Decker, and he possibly could one that could. He's not going to win this, but you know, one that could win a Europeans maybe, or them kind of tournaments.
I think Doots is playing with house chips.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he came into the tournament with not a great deal of headlines. People thought that, you know, as long as he gets that game with Michael Smith, this could be a good chance for him. But now that he's beaten Smith and he's beaten Ratajski, he's got house money. And he's got nothing to lose. So he might as well go all in today against Dobey and see what he can do. But when he came to speak to us after that game with Ratajski, he was knackered.
Yeah.
So turnaround time is going to be a big thing today. We can say what that's like from our previous experience. And if you've got less than 24 hours to go back to the practice room and get ready again, that is difficult.
Yeah, I had a scenario where I was last on. I think I was playing Lloydie. And I don't think the match finished till gone 11 because some of the games earlier had overrun. And I was playing John Park the next day and first on. And John had 4 or 5 days off. Well, by the time you know me, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you even go to bed, or?
I did for a couple of hours.
You
I
did?
think.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
I managed. Yeah, I think I managed.
I'm disappointed there.
Yeah, and I did. Yeah, I shouldn't have. What I should have done is just stayed right through. I might have been better off, but yeah. Consequently, I got absolutely blitzed by JP. My eyes were burning out of my head. I was physically done because of the you just don't get enough downtime to recover.
That's my worry for Owen.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
The
point.
mental fall down for him, come down. I think it's gonna be tough.
And he's walking into a guy who's pretty much had it all his own way so far. The players to look out for now at this stage, me and Paul discussed it yesterday, are those ones that have had, not maybe dropped 1 or 2 sets so far to get to this point, because they're going to have a lot more left in the locker.
I spoke with Gezi Price after he beat Johnny Clayton, and I think he looked polished in the first couple of sets. He found a hurdle at the start of set number 3, which stuttered him a little bit, but after speaking to him on talkSPORT after that victory, I speculatively said, you do have the option of actually going home and coming back because there's a 2-day break for you. And he said, well, that's what's happening because I'm going home tonight. There are some people who have barely had time to go back to the hotel room.
Yeah.
So it's go, sleep, get straight back up and go again. And if you get a kind scheduling, it could make all the difference.
Just before we move on, you talked about your picks before the tournament, you two guys, Paul and Chris, and you both picked the 2 Lukes, but your other 2 picks were different to one another. But who's still got skin in the game?
I had Gary and Dobie, and I think you had Johnny Clayton and Dobie, and
Johnny Clayton and Gary Anderson, but Anderson didn't even win a set in the tournament, which was a huge surprise. Jeffrey de Graaf beating him. So bottom of the draw, nothing. And Humphries I had winning the tournament. He's gone. And Littler in the second quarter. So he's the only one I've got left.
It's fascinating stuff. There's so much good stuff to come. It'll all be on talkSPORT 2 and indeed talkSPORT once we get to the semi-finals and the finals. So the quarterfinals on New Year's Day on talkSPORT 2, afternoon and evening sessions. And then when it comes to the semi-finals and the final, talkSPORT is the place to be, and we'll bring you all the action exclusively, darts on the radio. And don't forget the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel as well that I mentioned at the top of the show that you can subscribe to for watch-alongs and interview content. It's a great place to be, and we do try and provide the very best stuff for you. Full interviews with the players. You hear little clips of the interviews that we do on talkSPORT too, but you get to see and hear the full unexpurgated interviews with the great and the good backstage after they've won their matches. Now, to round things off today for episode 3, it is time for the chance for you to have a bit of a guessing game. While we're at it, let's tell you all about an exciting competition that you, watching this, can be a part of with Aces and Arrows. talkSPORT has partnered with GGPoker to offer you the chance to win a darts-inspired home entertainment package. So to celebrate GGPoker's end-of-year $24 million giveaway, talkSPORT is giving one lucky person the chance to win an incredible darts-inspired entertainment bundle so that they can have their ultimate darts setup at home. Among the prizes up for grabs, a 65-inch 4K LED TV, a wireless home cinema system, and of course you get a dartboard, set of darts, and an oche to work from. The competition will close at 23:59 hours on Sunday the 12th of January, so a week or 2 from now. Plus, there are more chances to win at GGPoker. Just head to promo.ggpoker.co.uk/talkSPORT for more information. It's 18 plus only. T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org is the website that you can take a look at. And please play responsibly. So on to our game, gentlemen.
do you want to just give it to Nick?
No, don't be doing the mind games on me, Mason.
Nicholson is
I'm not having it.
Nicholson is 1-7. Mason and Wilson both 10-1.
Yeah. I should explain what happens here because Mark was not here for episode 1. Abigail Davis got our mystery player correct in week 1, but Nico got it right in week 2.
Devon Peterson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was
Devon
just
Peterson.
about to.
I'm not saying we've got no chance, but I think Abby's got more chance than we have.
Well,
she's not here.
And this is the 5 dart draw. This is how it works. Going to test our panel on just how much they really know about the world of darts. 5 clues about a famous dart player coming up, and each clue will reveal a bit more about the player in question. So the more points are available, the less clues you get it in. So even if you think you're behind, if you get it on the second clue or something, you could go ahead of Nico and Abby. So there's incentive. Just, take a wild guess. It might just work out for you. You just don't know. Anyway.
Chris, Keith Deller.
Yeah. You're a bit previous there. Say your name to buzz in when you think you know the answer. And if you give me an incorrect answer, remember you're frozen out for that clue, but then you come back in for the next clue. So Paul won with 3 points last time out. So Him and Abby, top of the leaderboard. Rest of you need to get off the mark. So, here's clue 1. Are you ready?
Ready.
I was born on the 29th of July, 1990. I was born on the 29th of July, 1990.
Nico,
Go on.
I'm going to go with Ricky Evans.
Blimey. He's only got it right on the first clue.
Oh,
My stars.
on a date. Well, you memorised everyone's birthday.
What? No, okay, well, you're going to have to let us in. What on earth made you think of Ricky just...
When I've been doing my research for the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at a lot of ages, and I've been seeing when people's birthdays are.
Send him off.
I'm going to give a shout out to iDarts here, my database that I use. A guy from the Netherlands called Jacques Nulak provides us with a lot of information. It's an insane website, and it gives you everything you possibly need. And I've been doing a lot of research, and that age, I thought, well, Ricky's 34, it's got to be him. So there you go.
Geek.
Yeah. Weirdo.
He's not denying it, is he? He's not denying
I'm
it.
a self-confessed dart.
Just in case you were wondering, I mean, it's all perfunctory, this, but we'll go through the rest of the clues. My current world ranking is 45.
Chris, Ricky Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Just edit that bit out where he got it right.
Yeah.
I was one of the 14 players to knock out a seed in the second round this year. I have multiple walk-on
Ricky Evans.
depending on where I'm playing. And in 2017, I threw the world's fastest 180 in 2.16 seconds. That was never going to be
Johnny Clayton.
Well played, Nico. You storm it ahead at the top of the leaderboard.
Abby's going to be furious.
She's going to be absolutely furious. But maybe there's a chance for her to draw level with you in episode 4. But there we go. That's it from us here on Aces and Arrows. Nico, Mace, Wills, a pleasure being with you once again. These guys are off to Ali Pali now. They'll be bringing you all the action from this afternoon and this evening. Depending on when you're watching this, you could be watching this on Tuesday, in which case these guys will have already done and dusted the round 4 games. But we'll have the quarterfinals, the semi-finals and the final all live across the talkSPORT network. So hopefully you can join us for that. Why not check out the GGPoker largest online poker room as well whilst you're at it. A lot of darts to come, a lot of fun with us here on your home of darts on the radio on talkSPORT. We'll speak to you next week once the final is done and once we know who has had his name etched on the Sid Trophy. This has been Aces and Arrows. See you later.